Across the windswept plains of Mongolia, a storm gathered. Not a storm of rain or snow, but of ambition, a tempest of conquest embodied in a single name, Genghis Khan. His name echoes through history, whispered with a mixture of awe and terror. This is the story of his life, his conquests, and the terrible price paid for his ambition. The year 1162. The Mongolian steppe, a vast expanse of grass and sky, was a realm of constant struggle. Tribes warred endlessly amongst themselves, vying for control of the scarce resources. It was into this brutal world that Genghis Khan, born Temujin, was thrust. His early life was marked by hardship and tragedy. Orphaned at a young age, he knew betrayal and the bitter sting of hunger. Yet, these trials forged within him an iron will and a cunning mind. By 1206, at the age of 44, he had unified the Mongol tribes, earning the title Genghis Khan, the Great Khan. His gaze, however, was set far beyond the endless steppe. With a unified Mongolia behind him, Genghis Khan embarked on a campaign of conquest, the likes of which the world had never seen. His armies, disciplined and fiercely loyal, were unleashed upon the unsuspecting world. China, with its wealthy cities and sophisticated armies, was his first target. The Great Wall, a testament to Chinese engineering, proved to be a feeble barrier against the Mongol war machine. City after city fell to the relentless Mongol onslaught. Shishia, the Khwarezmid Empire, each victory adding to the growing legend of Genghis Khan. From the deserts of Persia to the plains of Eastern Europe, millions perished under the hooves of the Mongol cavalry. Genghis Khan's military genius was undeniable. He understood the importance of speed and maneuverability, utilizing his cavalry to devastating effect. But it was his mastery of terror that truly set him apart. He employed scorched earth tactics, leaving a trail of devastation in his wake. Entire cities were razed to the ground, their inhabitants put to the sword. The message was clear: resist and face annihilation. His warriors were masters of horseback archery, raining down a deadly hail of arrows upon their enemies. They employed psychological warfare, using feigned retreats to draw their opponents into deadly ambushes. Their skulls were piled high, grim monuments to the Khan's ruthlessness. Chapter 4. Whispers in the Night. The Mongols were experts at exploiting the fears of their enemies. Rumors of their brutality spread like wildfire, preceding their arrival and sowing seeds of panic. They used spies extensively, gathering intelligence and spreading disinformation to weaken their opponents from within. One particularly chilling tactic involved releasing captured prisoners, allowing them to flee back to their comrades with tales of the Mongols' might and savagery. The psychological impact of this was devastating, eroding morale and breaking the will to resist. Fear, Genghis Khan understood, was a weapon sharper than any sword. Chapter 5. The Crushing Weight of Empire. Genghis Khan's conquests were not simply about land or riches. He sought to break the backs of those who opposed him, to dismantle their cultures and erase their identities. Ancient cities, centers of learning and art, were reduced to rubble. Libraries, repositories of centuries of knowledge, were put to the torch. The destruction was not merely collateral damage, it was a deliberate act of cultural genocide. He imposed Mongol customs and language on conquered peoples, suppressing their traditions and beliefs. The world, under the yoke of the Mongol Empire, began to resemble a pale reflection of its former self. Chapter 6. A Stain on Humanity. Perhaps the most horrifying aspect of Genghis Khan's reign was the systematic use of sexual violence as a weapon of war. Conquered women were treated as spoils of war, subjected to mass rapes, and distributed amongst Mongol soldiers. Forced marriages were commonplace, a means of solidifying Mongol control and breaking the spirit of conquered populations. These acts were not isolated incidents, but rather a calculated strategy of subjugation, designed to humiliate and demoralize the vanquished. The trauma inflicted upon generations of women reverberated through families and communities, leaving an indelible scar on the human psyche. Chapter 7. a scar upon the earth. The Mongol conquests, while swift and decisive, left a devastating environmental legacy. The steppes, once teeming with life, were trampled under the hooves of millions of horses. Their scorched earth tactics, employed on a massive scale, led to widespread deforestation and desertification. The sheer number of deaths, estimated to be in the tens of millions, had a profound impact on the global carbon cycle. Some scientists believe that these changes may have contributed to a slight cooling of the planet, a chilling reminder of the unintended consequences of even the most brutal conflicts. Chapter 8. Living in the shadow of the Khan. The mere mention of Genghis Khan's name was enough to send shivers down the spines of his enemies. His reputation preceded him like a shroud of fear, paralyzing entire armies before a single arrow was loosed. Tales of his brutality, often exaggerated by rumor and fear, spread like wildfire throughout the known world. Mothers would quiet their children with whispers of the Khan's wrath, while kings would tremble at the thought of his armies appearing on the horizon. He understood that instilling fear in the hearts of his enemies was as effective as any weapon, sowing discord and breaking their resolve. The psychological impact of his reign was profound. It created a climate of uncertainty and paranoia, where any sign of defiance could be met with swift and brutal retribution. Chapter 9. A legacy forged in blood. Genghis Khan died in 1227, but his empire, a sprawling behemoth stretching from the Pacific Ocean to Eastern Europe, lived on. His successors, guided by his vision, continued to expand their dominion. The Pax Mongolica, a period of relative peace and stability within the empire, fostered trade and cultural exchange. The Silk Road, once a perilous route, flourished under Mongol protection, connecting east and west. Yet, the shadow of the Khan's brutality loomed large. His methods, though effective in securing power, left a legacy of violence and destruction that would haunt the world for centuries to come. He remained a figure of fascination and revulsion, a testament to the enduring power of both creation and destruction. Chapter 10. The True Cost of Empire. It is impossible to truly grasp the sheer scale of human suffering inflicted during Genghis Khan's reign. Millions of lives were extinguished, families torn apart, and entire cultures erased from the face of the earth. The cities he razed to the ground, once vibrant centers of life, lay in ruins, silent monuments to his insatiable ambition. The echoes of their destruction serve as a sobering reminder of the fragility of civilization. We are left to grapple with the complex legacy of a man who was both a brilliant strategist and a ruthless tyrant. His story forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about the nature of power and the cost of unchecked ambition. In the end, Genghis Khan's empire, built on a foundation of blood and bone, crumbled like all empires before it. Outro whispers on the wind. Genghis Khan's empire, vast and terrible as it was, ultimately faded, absorbed into the sands of time. Yet his name, forever linked with both conquest and destruction, continues to echo through the corridors of history. As we look back on the wreckage of empires, we must ask ourselves, what lessons will we learn from the whispers of the past? What path will we choose for the future?